We have all been there. Your little one tells you that they're feeling poorly. They don't want to go to school. You're not quite sure if you believe them, but you give them the benefit of the doubt and you let them have the day off. Well, East Sussex Council has sparked an angry reaction after telling parents they should be pushy, their words, and send their ill children to school. What do you think of that, Carol?
Oh, let's wonder what Carol thinks.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm on the council side. I think that kids are so wrapped up these days, and it's no wonder they've all got allergies. It's no wonder, you know, they've got no immunity to anything. They're all sick all the time. My mum used to send me to school literally if I could hardly get up and I was seriously ill. She would try and make me go just to prove that I was definitely really, really ill. But just for a cold, because when you think about it, the incubation period for most colds and whatever are before you actually get the symptoms. So it's not like you catch it when you've got it. It's, I really do seriously think that kids have got to toughen up. They don't go to school when it snows, when it rains, when anything. I mean, they're always... When are they going to learn how to read and write, for crying out loud?
She's gone into that voice that only dogs can.
Yeah, I know.
And foxes.
I'm the same as my mum. It's a good job I haven't got kids, actually, because I would be like my mum. Would be like, go and have some soup. You'll be all right in a minute. That's it. That's what she used to say.
I think it just has to be... you know, the word poorly or ill is quite quite wide, isn't it? And I think if it's a cough or a little cough or a cold, then just send them to school. And you know, when I was a kid, my mum was on a single mum and she worked. So if I was suddenly going, oh, I feel a bit, don't want to go into school, that was quite a big deal because my mum would have to get someone to look after me, and so I was quite often, oh, you'll be fine, you know, off you go, you go. And most of the time I was fine. But, you know, if you've got flu, as in you can't lift your head off the pillow, or you're being sick, vomiting. In fact, if you're vomiting, the school sends you home now, don't they? Because they don't want the other kids to catch it. So I think it's, you know, it's a middle ground.
You miserable pair. Honestly, going off sick was my favourite thing when I was a kid. And I was so good at it.
Yeah,
you know, I would heat up the thermometer, I'd get a tin of vegetable soup and I'd put it in the toilet. But I was quite clever, because what I'd do is I'd throw it in the bowl and then flush it so there was stuff left around the and then I'd settle down to Bonanza.
That's sick in itself.
It is. I'd settle down to Bonanza and Crown Court.
How did you do in your exams?
Crossroads. Yeah. Not very well. But I've done OK in life. I just... But it's interestingly, I never have gone off sick when I'm at work. No. I've got a really strong work ethic, but I loved watching daytime telly under a big duvet, and of course I was such a good actor. I'd do the whole thing of flicking one leg out and then turning over and flicking the other, and it was really annoying because my mum was a house mum, you know, a housewife, so she was always there when I was off sick. So I always had to be aware that I had to
keep acting all day.
I'd put white powder on my face.
What's the fun in that?
But do you think if you had a job like other people, most people do, where you have to go in every single day from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, and if you're off sick, you don't necessarily lose your pay. Do you think that you'd be you'd have such a great work ethic then? Or is it because when you don't come into work now, you don't get paid?
No, I do have I know that I have a really good work ethic because my mum and dad did, and I can see with my kids, they're the same. Like, they won't let somebody down and I'm responsible and all of that stuff. I just loved having days off sick when I was a kid. Because it was the telly that did it, and the biscuits, because I would plan it.
And we weren't even on then.
I would go and buy food and, like, hide it.
But if you think... I get that. You're speaking from the perspective of the child, which is, I get. But as an adult, if you know that your kid is swinging the lead, as you say, you can't then at the end of the... You know, how many weeks off do kids get from school? Weeks and weeks and weeks, holiday.
A lot.
But you can't at the end of it go, oh, well, you know, my child hasn't done very well in that exam. Why not? Because the school will turn around and go, well, they've had so many sick days that they missed all the algebra.
I think, obviously, if you're having too many, but I really didn't like it when people would send people into the school when their kids were sick and then my kid would get it. It's like when you come into work...
How sick, though?
Yeah, and people come, oh, I've made it in, and I think, oh, God, I wish you hadn't.
But do they then not get in cabs or on buses or in trains? Because everybody... has got something, and there's germs everywhere. You've got to build up an immunity.
But what about if your kid's going to get even iller, though, if you send them out? If you send them... Sometimes, you know, going out in the cold is going to make whatever they've got worse.
Well, I mean, that's kind of... I take a view on it, because you can tell whether they're...
Because they're wrapped up in blankets in central heating all day long, it's making them ill. Get out there!
You can tell the difference between if someone... Unless they've gone to such extreme, and I have to say, I applaud your efforts.
was good.
Such extreme methods.
Kids, don't try this at home.
But if you can see they really are teetering on the brink and they're going to come down with something awful, I'd rather they stayed off school and tried to sort of catch it before it properly manifested into something awful. And then they're only off for 1 day, not 2 weeks. But you take a view on it, and I think you know your own kids.
You know your kids, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. You were saying you see it from a child's... Obviously, it's different from a child's perspective, and you have a great work ethic now. Do you think that it can kind of carry on into adulthood? Do you think...
Oh, I think it definitely does, yeah.
There's loads of people I worked with in the past who were always off ill, and you just think, you know, and you know, you can't do anything about it, but at the time when you're coming to do promotions or whatever, you're not going to promote them because they let you down all the time. No. So that, you know, there is always, you know, when someone's genuinely ill, I think.
But if you're,
Sorry, I'm just laughing.
What?
I'm thinking of all the people at home that might be watching us that are doing a sickie. Do you know what? We would hate it if we're ruining your sick day.
I used to run a department. The surest sign that someone was chancing their arm would be when they go, hello.
Yeah.
And I think you're putting it on. Whereas if they just go, hi, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I've been up all night. You just go, yeah, you're telling the truth.
Do you remember the one when you go,
if it's Monday morning?
Yeah.
Usually it's a Monday morning. Honestly.
Anywho.